Hello and welcome to the fifth game in the best of 15 between ThomasHiatt and ZLO. ZLO is up 4-0 in this series. The fifth game here played on regular 6 Highlands, 10x10 map made by Lionheart, a classic ladder map. Now, Thomas has an uphill battle to climb in this series. Down 4-0, he has to gather his wits, strengthen his resolve, and fight on. ThomasHiatt on the top side with Grey Seraphim, starting out with 4 mexes, likely going to build the Hydro next. He has the Hydro queued up now. ZLO on the bottom side with Green Cybrin, going with a similar build, building a Hydro after the 4 core mexes. Looks like ZLO has 3 P-gens and then a land factory queued up, followed by 2 more P-gens, then his 3rd factory, which is going to be an air factory. ThomasHiatt with something similar. He's going to build 2 more P-gens and then his 2nd land factory, followed by 2 more P-gens, then an air factory. The initial engineers coming out for both players. 4 engineers from ThomasHiatt, building a Tham afterwards, and ZLO with an early hunter after 3 engineers. Scout leading the way. ZLO intends to block any moves towards the middle from ThomasHiatt. Should ThomasHiatt decide to send an engineer towards the middle to grab this reclaim, but we can see that, in fact, ThomasHiatt has no plan of the sort. He's actually going to send his engineer to the bottom left side, intending to steal ZLO's reclaim. This transport wreck offering 267 mass, and Aurora wrecks, 42 mass each, totaling roughly about 600 mass total. ZLO is headed towards the middle with his engineer, wanting to take about 600 mass in the middle. ThomasHiatt sending his ACU to this middle expansion, heading east, but ZLO still in his base, using his ACU for build power initially. Instead, relying on a single engineer to expand to the middle. That can be a little dangerous without an escort. And you can see that Thomas's Tham is on a collision course with that NG. So ZLO in a little bit of trouble at the start. Thomas appears like he's going to get this middle expansion before ZLO does the same, and ZLO takes out Thomas's sneaky engineer there. So ZLO detecting the thief and dispatching it before it reaches that reclaim, but Thomas, undeterred, sends another engineer in that direction, and he's going to stop ZLO's engineer from reclaiming. So both players denying each other's reclaim, and Thomas's Tham gets taken out. That was a little dangerous for ZLO's engineer there, but ZLO reinforcing that position with a couple of Mantis, allowing that engineer to finish this expansion. And that was a missed opportunity from ThomasHiatt. He clearly could have taken that engineer out had he sent it straight for the engineer, but looks like ZLO was able to prevent it. And a raid from that hunter continuing on. Can he take out this engineer before that mech finishes? Yes, that mech's not finishing in time. Just a couple more seconds and Thomas would have +2 mass per tick. But it wasn't meant to be. ZLO with a nice raid with that hunter. 2 Thams now occupying in this space, but ZLO on the case with enough health on those mantis to take out both Thams. Saving these two mexes, though one has been taken out here. Initially, Thomas with more mass income. Just a slight edge there over ZLO. And Thomas's engineer has made it finally to ZLO's side, and ZLO, after that initial denial, not paying any more attention to this reclaim. ZLO has that reclaim, those reclaim orders set. But when the engineer gets there, it's going to discover that there's nothing to take. Thomas doing a good job of stealing ZLO's reclaim. That's going to be plus 600 mass for ThomasHiatt, and a denied 600 mass for ZLO. And that does have quite an effect on the unit numbers. So Thomas may enjoy a slight lead at the beginning. But a nice raid group from ZLO bypassing Thomas's ACU, and not much from ThomasHiatt to defend here, just a few Tham. Even though there is a land factory in place, there's quite a few mantis here. And they will be able to deny or prevent any of these tanks from coming out and really defending. So ZLO very active in his raids. Thomas's tanks a little bit more watered down. They're all kind of separated from one another, not in a cohesive unit pretty much anywhere. Thomas will have to make some decisions. He has to bring his units back to defend. Trouble brewing here with this group of mantis from ZLO. And not many units for ThomasHiatt. I'm not sure what happened, but ThomasHiatt does not have that many units on the field right now. Even after having 800 more mass collected than ZLO. Thomas did upgrade a Tech 2 mechs. That could contribute to the sluggish unit production, but ZLO has a Tech 2 mechs as well. Just kind of looks like ZLO has been able to preserve his units a little bit more effectively. ZLO with 1.38 kill to death ratio on his units. So it looks like ZLO using his units a little bit more efficiently. Perhaps paying a little bit more attention to his engagements. And this raid group is going to prove a headache to ThomasHiatt coming up pretty soon. ZLO has access to these expansions, and if ZLO sees that there's no units here, he's going to take advantage of the situation. He sees an opportunity and he's about to pounce. ThomasHiatt makes it to the plateau here, takes out both point defense. Now his engineer is ready to take these three mexes at the top right corner expansion. But ZLO, a little bit behind in getting his transport. And no sign yet of any plans to take these plateau mexes. And that's crucial. That's 8 mass per tick here total. Most of the focus here going into these raids. ThomasHiatt building a few more land factories to counter ZLO's spam. But in fact, ZLO doesn't have that many land factories. He's using his units pretty effectively, conserving his mantis. So even with fewer land factories, ZLO appears to have a lot more tanks out. Thomas still has a slight eco advantage with about 1,000 more mass collected than ZLO. But he's going to have to control this bleeding here pretty soon now. Otherwise ZLO is going to start getting the edge. Really This this lack of motivation to take these mexes, however, kind of taking the edge off of ZLO's advantage. In fact, Thomas still ahead in score, though ZLO just overtakes him right now. So ZLO looking pretty good all of a sudden. I shouldn't say all of a sudden, it was kind of gradual. Thomas unable to control these raid groups. His ACU having trouble deciding which expansion to defend. Throughout these raids, this ACU has been pretty uninvolved, though in fact ZLO's ACU has been relatively not really participating himself, with only 6 kills so far. ThomasHiatt's ACU having 16 kills. ZLO continuing to press on with his Mantis and going to add his ACU to the mix. Gonna put a lot of pressure on Thomas's doorstep now. And with Thomas unable to reinforce this right position, Thomas is having a lot of trouble rebuilding these mexes. So ZLO bottling up this choke point, preventing Thomas from retaking his right expansion. Now we see that ZLO has a substantial portion of the map, and Thomas's ACU has been cut off. This is a huge problem for Thomas. He has to take control of the middle and fast. He does have quite a large group of tanks here. Is it enough to take out this army and an ACU? That's the question. Actually, ThomasHiatt looks to do a counterattack on ZLO's expansion where there's no ACU. Thomas might be able to take these mexes out, these expansions out entirely. And ZLO not really threatening Thomas's ACU yet, though he does have the opportunity to do so. If ZLO were to send all of his Mantis rightward, Thomas's ACU would be completely out of luck. He's not close to the water at all, so if ZLO were to make a pincer move on Thomas's ACU, it would be GG, but ZLO not seeing that opportunity, or just not deciding to act on it. So that might actually give Thomas a chance here if Thomas manages to wipe out ZLO's expansion over here on the bottom left side with this task force. Quite a lot of reinforcements for Thomas now at the front, and ZLO moving in. This is kind of a risky move since ZLO does not have any reinforcements on the front. ThomasHiatt wipes out this offensive. He may be in a position to put ZLO's ACU under pressure, pushing him back. Now, ZLO does have Tech 2 Air now. And actually, with this Tech 2 Air, he's going to be able to deny this advance entirely, as Thomas doesn't have air control. And if Thomas's offensive fails here, ZLO's going to have a lot of reclaim to take for himself. That means that ZLO is going to jump ahead in eco quite a bit. Thomas with no reinforcements still, due to the closed off ramp from ZLO. Thomas has a nice patch of reclaim here, but ZLO on Thomas's doorstep, going to be able to make some moves to deny reclaim of that mass patch. You can see that ZLO has quite a lot of control here now. Still no sign of ZLO taking these plateau expansions, but ZLO not prioritizing these mexes at all. He finds other things are occupying his focus, and right now it may prove that these expansions are not necessary after all for ZLO to take the win here. ZLO has this crucial strategic point, closing off reinforcements from Thomas. And the raids are coming relentlessly from ZLO. Every which way Thomas is seeing Mantis. At every expansion, and more it's becoming difficult to muster a defense. Now ZLO about to take out this top right expansion. Thomas coming with interceptors to deny it. But there's still more gunships on the way, and now this expansion under fire. ZLO's ACU now in a little bit of danger. Is ThomasHiatt gonna move in with all of his army? This is the final chance, I think, for ThomasHiatt to take out ZLO's ACU. And ZLO's ACU actually in a bit of trouble. All of Thomas's units shift G'd towards ZLO's ACU, but very quickly Thomas's units are disappearing under the fire of ZLO's gunships. ThomasHiatt says GG. Looked a little bit dangerous there for ZLO, but only briefly as we... Sorry, a desync. Now ZLO is ahead 5-0 in the series. A couple quick moves from ZLO. Very aggressive maneuvers. ThomasHiatt having trouble controlling the bleeds there. And with slow positioning his ACU at this crucial location, Thomas found himself, his ACU, a lone island on the right side, while ZLO had an ACU and his entire army at the ramp near Thomas's base. Thomas counter-attacking here on the bottom left side, but denied, as ZLO had Tech 2 air, and was able to, with no impediment here, was able to mobilize a quick defensive force, denying Thomas's counterattack. So, very quick game from ZLO there, quick aggression, and ZLO takes the 5th game. So well played. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next game.